Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the steps for making a delicious meatloaf. So not only am I going to be making a meatloaf in this video, but once I finish with that recipe, I'm also going to be doing a mini mukbang at the end of the video. So if that's something you want to watch, you can watch it. If you don't want to stick around for the taste test, then you can end at that time. But without any further ado, I am Paula. My channel is PJ Danita Trends, and I do a lot of how-to and a lot of cooking videos. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell, and I will talk to you in the next video or either in the comments below. So let's get into the recipe. So for this recipe, we're gonna need 2 eggs, we're gonna need ketchup, and I will put the measurements in the description box below. You're also gonna need the milk of your choice. I use breadcrumbs, actually I use the panko Italian breadcrumbs, and this is what it looks like. I got that from Walmart. You're gonna need some brown sugar, some salt, some mustard, and some pepper. Now, I've already added my onion to the ground beef, but if your family doesn't like onion, that's optional. So we'll start combining the ingredients that's gonna go into the ground beef first. So we're gonna combine the egg with the milk. We're gonna add in the salt. Then we're going to add in the black pepper and the Italian panko breadcrumbs. Now, I have my little helper in the kitchen with me. This is my son Tanner, and he is just combining the ingredients. So he's going to mix this really well. And then once he has, it really is the egg. As you can see, I'm having him to separate the egg. So once he's got that mixed really well, we're going to pour that over the ground beef mixture. Okay, so it's now time for his favorite part. The reason he wants to help out on this recipe is because he's got his hands washed and he gets to get in there and mix it up and then form a loaf in the pan, and that's it. This is ready to go in the oven. Now I end up baking this for a total of an hour at 350 degrees. But while it's baking, I'm gonna combine my topping for the meatloaf. So I'm gonna combine the ketchup, the brown sugar, and the yellow mustard. And this is gonna create a sweet glaze to go on the top of the meatloaf. It's gonna be the perfect balance of sweet, tangy, and of course the tomatoey ketchup flavor. Now I'll let the meatloaf bake for about 45 minutes before I add this glaze on the top. So I'm just combining this, and you want to get it just mixed really well. You want the color to change almost to a brownish glaze with a little hint of red, and you want to make sure that brown sugar is absorbed in your glaze. Now, when you pull the meatloaf out of the oven, it's gonna have some grease, so you'll want to drain any grease that's formed before you apply the glaze. So I pulled the meatloaf out, I drained it, and now you see me coating it with this glaze. I use a spoon to apply it, and I just go in a back and forth motion, and I cover the entire top of the meatloaf. And then I'm gonna put it back in the oven for the last 15 minutes. Once it's done, I'm going to take it out of the oven and let it sit and rest. And then after about 10 minutes or so, I will cut into the meatloaf, and it's going to be nice, juicy, and delicious. And I'm actually going to be having this with some mashed potatoes and air fried okra. So that's the end of the recipe. Now let's get into the actual taste test. So let's get into the actual recipe. For me, this was an excellent recipe. I found that most people either really love meatloaf or they avoid it like the plague. Obviously, I'm someone who absolutely loves it. Another tip that I'll give you, I've seen this in another recipe because I'm always looking at recipes. One of the tips that I got was to saute the onions in a little bit of butter before you cook the meatloaf, and then add sauteed onions, and that will give it a different flavor. So I'm going to try that as well. Also, if you like the Worcestershire sauce, you can add that for a bit of tang. But this recipe as is was a big hit. For me, it had a nice sweet and tangy flavor to that sauce, and that really hit the spot for me. I think for this meal overall, you've got to have a pretty sophisticated palate, because okra is something else that I've got on this plate. So I air fried the okra, and I hear a lot of people say I don't like okra, but I'm from South Carolina. I've lived here my whole life. And to me, when people say they don't like okra, they usually don't like the sliminess of the okra. Another tip that I saw in a different recipe, and I'll give this a try, is to take your okra, cover it in cold water, and squeeze an entire lime in the okra and the water mixture. Cover that, let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you'll lose most of the sliminess of the okra. So I haven't tried that, but I may give it a shot and then make a video about it later if it actually works. The slime doesn't really bother me as much, especially when you do it in the air fryer. But that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you for joining me with this recipe, and I will, of course, talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.